Welcome back to Chow Time Pod. It's your host, Red. Got a video today from YouTube Shorts. Passport bros, men exercising their options, finding what they want in other places. There's nothing wrong with it, but there is something wrong with the West. There's the reasons why we're leaving. Please like, subscribe down below. I really appreciate that. And let's get to that chow. It's chow time.
Like, that's why I do like kind of the digital bro, like what the digital bromad does is first is like, it's not like he went out there like I'm here to find women. He like had a remote job. Like you can also just tell like this is a guy who like if he were in the US he would have no problem dating. He'd have a lot of friends. Like he just seems like a person who's just fun to be around. Like just seems very likable. And like I think he hosts like a beers and peers like learn Spanish happy hour or something when he was like living in Colombia. It's like it's more around like, hey, I'm here to see the culture, and you know, what do you know, like the women here are really nice too. And so he's kind of like integrated that in. Like he didn't go out there saying like, you know, where's my future wife or anything like that. It was, you know, I'm gonna get this cultural experience for me.
What's wrong with going out there and having a specific goal other than the culture? The goal is to find a particular wife. Yes, we get to enjoy the culture, enjoy the country, enjoy everything else, but that's the main goal of life, is family for most men. So what's wrong with that being one of the forefront things in our minds when we travel?
Society, even these simp guys, these simp white knight cuck defenders,
Simp white knight cuck defenders, damn.
men who support these modern women. So the outside passport haters.
Mm-hmm.
And then, but what's more insidious to me is sometimes fellow travelers.
Ooh.
To me, that's very insidious that we have a fellow.
Is it insidious or insidious? I'm not trying to make fun of the man. I'm genuinely curious. My English is not the best either.
Male passport, so-called passport bro, fellow travelers, and we have this kind of internal self-hate and infighting. I admit I'm involved in it up to the gills. You know.
I didn't know about there was infighting in between amongst passport bros. I thought we were pretty cool about it, but it makes sense because people love to gatekeep for some reason. I'm not really sure why people do that, but a lot of people like to gatekeep.
You know, it is what it is. I give as good as I take. I think it's very unnecessary. I think it's destructive. But, you know, like the one brother said, everything the brothers touch seem to turn to dust type of deal.
Oof, that was a little harsh. I can somewhat get that sentiment, but it's a little harsh.
Women's rights. But we can't define what a woman is.
Nope.
But also men can be women.
Yep.
And no uterus, no opinion.
Nope.
But also men can get pregnant.
Yep.
Men are oppressing us. But also,
Yep.
it's okay if biological men take over our spaces and our sports.
Yep.
Women are so over-sexualized in this culture.
Yep.
But it's empowering if women are the ones sexualizing themselves.
Yep.
Are you guys quite done yet? Like, are you okay?
That just about sums it up.
This is my friend Brianna Robinson. You should absolutely go follow her. She's fabulous. It's incredibly hypocritical, as everything is. Modern day feminism is not consistent in the slightest. Somebody commented and said, high empathy and low IQ generally correlate with feelings over facts.
Ooh.
I mean, that's the basis of
Ooh. Feelings over facts. That's exactly the modern day we live in, guys. We can't even put facts out because it hurts their feelings.
When we see Islamic women in hijabs, we in the West generally view this as oppressive behavior.
Women do.
However, if you take a deeper look into
I
why
guess someday.
hijabs and body coverings were introduced in the first place, you realize they were probably a pretty good idea. Back in the day, women were used as currency. If one of your sons killed the son of one of your neighbor could demand that you send over your sister so that they could have their way with her and create a new life for the life that was taken. It was driven by lust, and it fucked women over in Europe and Africa for centuries. But the Arabs saw this and were like, yeah, that, and they decided to take lust out of the equation entirely as a way to protect women from becoming a currency. And they did that by introducing the hijab. Now, is it the year 1134 anymore, and do we need to be worried about women being traded around like dollar bills? Largely no, which makes the hijab oppressive. However, it's important to understand why ideas you find cringe were instituted in the first place, because you understand why people are arguing for them in the first place, and by understanding, you're better able to offer an alternative that actually liberates women instead of just calling Muslims crazy, which won't do anything except drive the divide between our worlds even further.
It's crazy that women nowadays think that covering up is oppressive. It's thinking that, oh, you have to wear this. Back in the day that was oppressive. No, back in the day the patriarchy saw what the fuck was going on. Women were just getting destroyed left and right. Men just doing their own thing, and it was hard to control these men. right? So instead of trying to control men that were uncontrollable, they're like, you know what? Let's make it so the women do this and we can protect them this way. The patriarchy put these in place to protect women, not to oppress them in most ways.
You would agree with me that every human being on planet Earth has a mother and a father, right?
Yes.
Right. Do you think that, considering that humanity has thrived for as long as it has, that there's a possibility that that arrangement is maybe the best arrangement for why that has happened?
I mean, there's a lot of people who don't stick around to raise their kids, so I think
See, this is I hate women sometimes when they like that wasn't the question, like that wasn't what he was asking you, but you always want to go around it because you don't want to answer the question because you know it's going to prove you wrong.
Yeah, but those are all outliers. Those are exceptions to the rule, right?
yes.
Yeah. So,
But there's a lot of them, so that might
well,
not be
and that's
such an
increasing,
exception.
but I would make the argument that that's increasing because the amount of what I call social degeneracy is increasing. So behaviors like that, people are more apt to engage in them because of a lack of stigma and social shaming in society.
We need shame back, guys, like a global size shame. Remember, single mothers used to get shamed. Men used to get shamed for certain things too. Women used to get shamed for a lot of things. Now we've made it so women can do things without shame, and that's giving them so much leeway. They're usually going to pick the most degenerate things possible, which would be sex work, OnlyFans, prostitution. This was why a lot of women, and that's just that these women out there are advertising it, telling other women, "Oh, I made $100,000 in a month doing this." What do you think other women see when they think of OnlyFans models? Oh, I can go do that and make $100,000 a month. Oh, that sounds awesome. And people don't really judge me anymore. We need to bring back shame. So women have at least a thought before they even jump into sex work. And they're like, oh, do I really want this? Because it's probably going to ruin my life.
This Ringo almost forced the MMA fighter into retirement. The MMA fighter named TheChowTimePod got into a little contact with the Ringo during a photo shoot while celebrating.
He grabbed her on the side, pulled her in a little bit, took a picture. Like, I'm not trying to say it was okay to just grab her or anything, but I wouldn't have considered this sexual harassment. He even bowed afterwards, like as an apology. Oops, I might have been too excited after I won a fucking fight.
Surprisingly, after this event, he got reported by the media for sexual harassment. Luckily, he was not suspended. But since then, this fighter avoids any contact with the Ringo.
And they wonder why men don't want to date them or marry. The simplest of things nowadays that men do are now considered predatory, sexual harassment. We are so second-class citizens in the U.S. Most men rather just be treated nicely and at least be somewhat appreciated by people around them in other countries. And she's laughing as if he's like, fuck.
Do you guys
no.
think his actions were inappropriate? What do you guys think?
The larger issue isn't that women want to be impressed, it's that they want to be impressed by gesture and not the man. It's like 300 on the bill. Any dude with money can 300 on the bill, or any dude that's desperate enough to fake it. Yeah. I can't.
Right? It's easy to just rack up credit cards to just show you can do these things, but it doesn't show how good a man he is. It doesn't show how much he cares. It doesn't show how much quality this man. It's just how much he's willing to drop money on you.
You can't fake generosity. You can't fake humility. You can't fake
No.
service. You can't fake leadership. You can only put up a.
Women can fake a lot of these things for a very long time, like maybe years on end. This is why you have to vet women 3+ years, because they can put that facade up. For men, it's a little harder for us to go a long period of time to do it, at least from what I can tell. Men, maybe 6 months to a year. After that, they go back to what they were.
for charade so long until Shorty realized none of those things. But it's like, rather than look at the intangibles, because I ain't gonna lie, I personally got offended because they put coffee dates on there. I'm gonna give away one of my plays, man. I'm gonna give away one of my all-day date plays. It's a play that doesn't miss.
Super date me.
Coffee, museum, bar.
I just got wet.
And no, it's
You just got wet. It's funny because mine is very similar. Except it replaced the coffee with boba though.
it's coffee, museum, lunch, bar. You owe food if you got somebody
It's
out
true.
there.
I admit that.
But check me out, bro. Coffee dates strip people down. Yes, you may
Mm-hmm.
feel like you're getting a cheap experience. That's the point, because no one can hide behind money. I can't hide behind how much money I make. You can't hide behind. The larger issue isn't that women want to.
He's right. It's easy to hide behind money for a lot of men, a lot of people. This is what simps do, right? They just hide behind money. They just toss money straight up. And you don't know if that simp or that man is some kind of unsavory person. You don't know their intent. You don't really know if they're good men or bad men. You just see them throw $300 at you for a meal and you're like, my panties are ready to come off. Whew, that was some good chow. I put in that MMA fighter clip, shout outs to Jonathan Mayer. That really sucks of how that case went about. I wanted to cover it, but it's a little bit too much for me to want to cover. I get too upset thinking about it. So please subscribe down below. I really appreciate it. And I'll catch you guys next time. Ciao.